Hey, welcome back to the channel, everybody. My name's Strats. If you're new here, go ahead and click that subscribe button, leave a like on the video, and turn post notifications on. Today, we're going to be covering how to be more survivable in any aircraft in Battlefield 6. I'm just going to give you guys a few tips and tricks of how I play an aircraft. This will make you survive longer and in return probably get you some more kills. Now, my first tip is to use your free look more than you probably are doing right now. In this clip, I fly by the enemy base, I look back to see if an enemy pilot has already spawned in the aircraft. What this allows is for me to be able to turn around, get behind the enemy, get a good advantage to put guns on as soon as possible and eliminate their aircraft from the air. Basically, what you're trying to do is get a good advantage on the enemy and not let them leave your sight. I see a lot of people whenever they're flying fighter jets in game, they lose sight of the enemy and therefore they're able to make a quick turn on them, get behind them and basically put guns on them before you're able to. So your main objective in this is to get behind them as soon as possible. This is 100% going to increase your survivability. Now, tip number 2 is to use your first-person POV while you're in the jet to accurately shoot down enemy aircraft. As you notice here, whenever I get close to this enemy jet, that circle lines up with the trajectory of where my bullets are going to go and meet the enemy aircraft. Now, this is 100% way better than the alternative of using third-person camera and trying to guess where your bullets are going to go. Basically, in first person, this is going to allow you to be way more accurate and be able to hit those shots on the enemy jet way more accurately. And tip number 3 is going to be speed and altitude. Speed and altitude are super important within a dogfight. Now, I'm no fighter jet pilot, but I will say that keeping your altitude and your speed is going to be what makes the difference in any engagement. Keeping your altitude lets you see where the enemy jet is a lot sooner and keeping your eyes on them throughout the whole flight path. And then keeping your speed is going to allow you to control the pace of the fight. Now, what I mean by this, for example, in this clip, I'm going pretty fast, but my opponent here, he's going pretty slow and induces a turn. Now, I'm able to slow down my jet, hit the air brake, and get behind him as soon as possible to follow up with those super accurate shots from the circle that I was talking about earlier. Now, tip number 4 is to use your chaff and flare very sparingly. A lot of times I see people chaff and flare way too early whenever they just get a regular lock-on alert warning. Your chaff and flare take about 15 seconds to recharge after you dispense them. Now, within that time frame, there's going to be air-to-air tanks, there's going to be engineers with AA launchers, and not to mention the fact that there's also going to be Bradleys locking onto you with tow missiles if someone paints you. Plus, there's going to be attack helicopters with air-to-air missiles equipped on them already. So what I have to say is wait until that warning on the bottom of your screen becomes an incoming instead of like a warning or just, getting a regular lock-on alert. Now, once you've actually discharged your chaff and flare, I would either try to climb towards the out-of-bounds area of the map and get super high because you have a lock-on radius of about 1,000 meters from those enemy anti-air defenses, or use the mountains and terrain to your advantage to be able to evade those missiles. Now, on a map like Merrick Valley, when there's not a lot of mountains to hide behind from missiles incoming, I recommend getting super low and going fast. What this does is it's not going to allow any enemy air defenses to be able to lock onto you because you're below the actual altitude that they're able to get that signature. Now, if you're able to master your countermeasures and pair that with actually winning your dogfights, this leads to maybe you dominating the air the whole match. The second to last tip that I have for you guys is know where your airstrip is. If your aircraft gets damaged in flight, you can fly super low close to your airstrip and it'll actually repair your vehicle. This is basically going to allow you to keep refreshing your vehicle's health all throughout the match and be able to stay close to full health if you get hit by, enemy guns, or if you actually do get locked on by anti-air. It won't necessarily kill you 100% of the time. It may take you down to about 15 to 20 HP. And the last tip I have for you guys is to be patient whenever you're actually in the jet. Now, what I mean by this is, of course, you want to get those air-to-air kills as soon as possible to try to prevent these guys from sneaking up behind you and getting guns on you. Now, also what I mean by this is, if enemy air does engage you and you have to dispense your chaff and flare, you should not immediately go back up into the air within visual range of these guys for them to be able to immediately lock onto you again and get a missile off. So what you want to do is, like I said, stay up out of visual range, try to be at the outskirts of the map, use terrain, or fly super low and fast, that way they can't lock onto you. Now, like I said, I'm no Air Force pilot, but these are just my tips for flying better in Battlefield 6 and how to be more survivable. If you did enjoy the video, I would also appreciate a like, comment what video you'd like to see next, and as always, subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.